game, and we started off with just like a little circle that when you pushed on the left side, it'd go up and go to the right, and when you pushed on the right side, it'd go up and go to the left. And originally it was designed as a mobile game, and that's kind of where it all started from.
How have you? Because I've come through some of the other stuff that you've done on the website and on your Facebook page and stuff. How have you felt since release? I mean, because again, coming back to our conversation before, where it was like, look, YouTubing and game design isn't the same thing, but I feel like I can relate because you put all your work into this thing, you release it, and sometimes it's like, huh, you liked that? And then there's someone that's like, wait a minute, you didn't love this? Why don't you love this? This is amazing. And then you go, well, but hang on, by the same token, you like this though. No, this is dumb. Why do you like that? Anyway. So that's the kind of, sometimes the thing I go through with my videos. Some are popular, some aren't. I go, why? They don't answer because they're not real. They're not. It's not a real-time response.
Yeah.
When you released it, how did you end up feeling about it? When you were like, okay, this is the reaction.
I mean, people who played it, we got positive reaction from. We just didn't get enough people playing it. It's a big problem in the indie sphere is that nobody really has any idea. Like, there's no way to release a game successfully, especially in the indie space. If you've got the marketing budget and the hype and a brand, you can rely on that sort of thing, like Bethesda and all that. Fallout 76. I haven't played it, but from what I've read, it's a terrible game. But it's got the brand recognition, right, and it's got the marketing budget.
Indeed.
So I don't know how much they lost, if they lost anything, or if it's actually been a success for them.
Difficult to say, I suppose, at this point. More reputational damage than monetary.
Yeah, I'd say they definitely took a hit there, especially in the Fallout brand, which is something that they wouldn't have wanted to tarnish in any way. But anyway.
Hell no, not with Skyrim another 15 years away, or whenever the hell they're going to release it.
10 or whatever it is. I don't know, I forget the number.
Elder Scrolls, when we can be asked.
They're going to release Skyrim for the Apple Watch first, though, of course, right? It's going to be on every platform before they even think about doing another game, right? It's tough. I mean, if there was a way to release a successful game, or a game successfully, I should say, if there was a way to release a game successfully, everyone would be doing it, and then it wouldn't work. So, you come up with these weird marketing plans that don't seem to work too well. But you gotta try every avenue you can. And right now, I haven't figured out the right way of doing it, and it's unfortunately that's really the case. It's just about getting the game to the right people, to the right audience that will actually do the advertising for you, or paying someone to do advertising for you.
Right. Yeah.
And the next game that I'm going to do, I'm going to be investing some money into. I'm going to put aside some money for an advertising budget. But we'll see when that one comes out. It's taking a little bit longer than I'd anticipate. I can tell you what it is.
I think the key to it. No, sorry, go ahead. No. Worst thing for an interviewer to do, cut up the interviewee. That's what you want to do. Bring him on and say, now shut up while I talk. No.
I was just going to say, it's a snowboarding game, but that's about all I'll say. could.
Oh, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, I cut you up and you were going to give us a skin.
No, because I can't tell you too much, because otherwise, like, it's a different type of snowboarding game. If I tell you too much, then somebody else might copy it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Fine. Bait and switch on me. Just bring us in with some great info. Never mind. Well, okay, bringing it back to before I really do it. Basically, what I was going to say was, you are 100% right. It's one of those. It's a time now where you just have to grab attention, and it doesn't. And there's nothing in that title that says the game is good, therefore it grabs attention. It's whatever it happens to grab attention for. I mean, some of my friends have brought me games where it's, wait a minute, what's the point of this game? And they'll explain it to me, and I'll go, huh? I don't get so what's the point? Oh no, there is no point. It's just this, right? But then, how do you know when the game's up? How do you know when you're done? How do you know when the fun's supposed to start? I don't know. Everyone's really playing it, so that's the reason why we're playing it. Okay, but then the marketing aspect, to your point of how do you gain that traction? How do you get it out there? Your guess is as good as mine, because it's the same problem in the YouTube sphere. It's like, okay, so you want to make a good product, a quality product, you want to make something you're passionate about, you want to make something that you know is good and fun. But then it's like, oh, yeah, but who cares?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Well, you should care because of all the reasons I just gave you. Yeah, so what does it do different?
Yeah.
Well, it's the one I made. Okay, well, I'm going to go play this dog simulator where the dog has a cape and it flies. Okay, whatever. Is it fun? I don't know, but it's new.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's one of those extremely frustrating things. A friend of mine just released, this game called Bludgeon on Steam, and he's going through pretty much the same thing as I am, and he's like, it's this MOBA game crossed with Left 4 Dead, and for all purposes, I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. But it's a heavily online game. But of course, since he hasn't had as many sales as he would have liked, you don't get the matchmaking, and so therefore you don't get the the game that you're looking for. So people play it and they're like,
sure.
There's no one to play against. I'm playing against bots. But from what I've played on it, I'm like, man, this is really, really amazing for such a small team that have actually put it together. It's one of those infuriating things to see, really.
I'll imagine, so, and especially considering that you've put a lot of time and effort into the game that I review, Power Gunner, and I remember picking it up, and I told you this in our first conversation as well. I kind of hate you now because you've set the bar at a certain level. I'm like, okay, this is the average indie game, and so far, probably 90% of the games that I've played to review since have limboed nicely underneath it, and it's like, well, okay, so, and to talk to you and to say, yeah, the reception hasn't been as much as I thought it would be, it's disappointing, because I go, what can be done to give games like yours the chance they deserve, because they're, number one, a quality product, number two, quality tested, because I didn't find any bugs with the game, there's a couple of little niggles, but they're design choices of yours, they're preferences that all games have. Why does yours not get the nod over other games that clearly were put together by someone who was in a shed in the dark?
Well,
and it's like, okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, sir. I'm just ranting now, so this is a good time for you to jump in and save me before I just cut a promo on the whole indie game.
I will say that, you giving me the opportunity to even do this podcast is one of the things that, as an indie developer, you have to jump at. Whenever somebody, asks, hey, can I have a key? Quite a lot of the people who we give keys out to, they don't do anything with, but you just never know. For all I know, obviously I'm going to name drop one of the biggest YouTuber who I don't even watch. If I happen to give a key to somebody and it just happened to be PewDiePie, right? You never know. I don't know if he does things under aliases or how it even works with him, or it could be another large YouTuber. Again, I don't. I've been distancing myself from the gaming world the last couple of months because I don't know. You get a little bit burnt out when you're
yeah, tell me about it.
Going through the release process and everything. So, but I'm gonna get back into it. I'm gonna start watching again. But
well, answer me a question then. So, take the PewDiePie as the example. So, say for instance he got his hands on Power Gunner. He starts playing it. The common trend that I find these days is the only games that really do gain traction with those kinds of influences are the ones that they just make fun of. They're just like, oh my god, guys, this game sucks, and it's like, well, hang on a second, do you really want to gain notoriety for that? And there are plenty of developers that go, well, duh, yeah. But then there are plenty of developers that go, well, no, I genuinely thought this was a good product, and I don't really appreciate some guy making thousands of dollars off of making fun of my hard work. At least that's how I would feel if someone came across my channel and they were just making fun of it all the time. I was like, okay, well, I get you don't like it, but at least I know it's good. I know it is because I put a lot of effort and hard work, and I compare it to other people's, and I go, well, theirs is garbage compared to mine.
Yeah, I guess from a monetary standpoint, I'd love to be trashed by.
Yeah, hey, listen. You talk as much smack as you like. How much are you sending me?
Yeah, exactly right. It's from a monetary standpoint. Yeah. Of course, it'd be great because that'd be I imagine, I actually don't know, but I imagine it'd be quite a lot of thousands of dollars that just a push from him can give you. But from a
Sure.
creative, from a these games like your YouTube channel, they kind of become your baby, right? And you put your heart and soul into it, and I'm happy with Power Gunner that it received a positive reception, rather than releasing a crap game and it doing better than Power Gunner and receiving a negative reception. But in saying that, it would have been nice to get some money on the back end of that as well. It would have been nice to at least recoup the losses or the money that was put into making the game, which it never will at this stage unless something drastically changes. Which is, it's how it goes. I knew it was a risk at the end of the day, and I'm still going to keep entering the lotto, as me and my business partner would like to put it. We'd be like, every game is another lotto ticket.
100%.
You never know which ticket is going to win. So keep on trying, right?
Well, let me ask you a little bit more about Power Gunner itself, because I'm interested in the development process from the perspective of I literally have no idea how one sits down and decides, right, we're going to make a game. We're going to go do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to put this together, we're going to test this, then we're going to make sure it all works, we're going to make sure it looks dope. For you, what was the most challenging thing about making Power Gunner?
Am I supposed to answer this honestly?
Hell no, you're supposed to go, this was the easiest thing in the world I've ever done. In fact, if you gave me a bunch more money, I could make one that's 20 times as good. X nay on the give me money now.
It's, let's put it this way. So, let's see. Trying to figure out how to answer this correctly. So, like, obviously the coming up with what you're doing is difficult. Where you're going is difficult. This give me 1 second, I just got to... No, that's not important at all. So, the creative process when you're making this, when you're working by yourself, it's a relatively simple thing. You kind of go ahead and you go, this is how I'm going to do it, and whether it screws up or not, who cares? When you're doing a creative process with multiple people, it starts getting, there's more chefs in the kitchen. And so... and there's no real clear defined way to define who is correct in the decision-making process. So I might go, I think the sky needs to be pink. And my business partner goes, no, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It needs to be a space background. And I'm like, no, pink. Because I like pink. And because I like pink, everyone else likes pink. And it's like, but it's a space game. And I'm like, yeah, but I like pink and everyone else likes pink. How can you not see that? So, working where there's no clear defined person who actually makes the decision at the end of the day is probably been the most trialing process to it, because, well, there's no way you can ever win an argument, and there's no way you can ever lose an argument. Because when you're working in a single, when you're working in a direct 50-50 partnership, who's right?
To a degree, but I mean, because I mirror that sentiment because I was once part of a channel, kind of as a contributor. I wasn't like a member of the channel, but I used to send the videos. That was the most challenge I've ever had on YouTube because it was a constant argument of what I should cover next. And it's like, but I want to cover what I want to your point, I want to talk about the sky being pink, dude. It's freaking pink. Like, when does that ever happen? No. You need to cover the night. You need to cover the sky at night when it's dark and it's got stars in it. That's what people want to see. Yeah, but that happens every night. I want to see pink, dude. That was very frustrating to the point, but at the same time, it is challenging in the sense that it makes you double check your perspective and say, okay, well, maybe he does have a point. Maybe I could rethink it. But even then, you can still go back and say, dude, I've thought about it. I appreciate your perspective. But dude, pink sky, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was probably the most difficult part. It's probably a little bit easier because my business partner isn't here on the call with me.
He's screaming at the screen, "How dare you!" But look, I think he would probably have a similar take, which is, yes, it can be frustrating, but ultimately, sometimes the endeavour is improved by having someone else to bear the burden. So as much as it's sometimes frustrating, you get to collaborate, you get to bounce ideas off each other, and hopefully the best idea prevails.
Yeah, I like to think that we had a pretty good thing going there. We had creative differences from time to time, but I think at the end of the day, we released a pretty quality product. I'm hoping we get Hyper Slasher out one day. There's some really, really good things in that game. But we'll see. We'll see if we get that one out.
We will, but I mean, just coming back to Power Gunner again, because the first thing that struck me in the selling point of the game, at least I took away from it, is that it's basically a classic game but with a new spin. The idea that the aiming is taken out of your hands to a certain degree, albeit that's tweaked with the power-ups, because you do still have to sort of gauge the direction of those and manage them as you're defeating enemies and so on and so forth. But basically, you made a good game, and again, that's why I say to you, how dare you, because you've set the bar at... Because so many games that I've played get so wrapped up in trying to find the most interesting or the most unique premise that they forget the quality... The only question that should ever really matter when you're building a game, is it fun?
Yeah,
Your game is.
I completely agree with you there, and that was one thing that we always tried to focus on is, make something that's fun. I think we missed the mark on one or two of our games that we released, but I think we hit the bar right with this game, with Red Light Runners. I think those two games we really did hit the bar correctly. Color Boost and Blast Return. Maybe not quite so much. But those games, we decided we'd do something in as short a time as possible and really cut the scope down.
Sure.
Just to see what we could come up with creatively. But maybe we missed the bar a little bit, but those were free cell phone games, so I think at the end of the day, if people complain about the cost of it, they can find a bridge, really.
Listen, I'll give you the same anecdote that I gave other people the other day when I was making them tea, and they go, "Hey, listen, don't complain to me about the taste of a chocolate bar if I found it in a hole. It was free.
You can eat it or not. You know it came from a hole."
Listen, okay, it was free. I didn't say quality, I said quali-free, okay? There's a distinct but subtle difference there. But to your point, yes, you've got other games in the back pocket that you've produced, and you've said, look, mistakes were made, or we learned from the process. But the point that I always bring back to a lot of other developers when I try to give feedback, or when I correspond with them before, so here's my thoughts on the game beforehand. Here's what I'm thinking before I've even reviewed it. And again, the prevailing thought from your game was fun. I remember picking it up. I remember wanting to pick it back up again after I put it down, which is like, okay, I'll play it for 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe go do something. Do you know what? I should really play Power Gunner some more. Let me find an excuse to go play it again. Play it for another half an hour, 20 minutes. What do you think is the inspiration behind sitting down and designing this particular type of game, considering what you've made before? Like, we want to make a spacefaring game. We want to take the aiming out of the equation. We want to focus more on the traversing of the map from right to... We want to give it a heavy feel. What were some of the thoughts that went into that design?
Well, initially it was actually a level-based game. So the first level you had like 3 guys that you had to kill, and you'd actually get stats, or something like you got stat points to power up your character, and every level was procedurally generated. And we were like, oh, this is really, really fun. At the end of every level, it'd be like, okay, how do you want to spend your stat points and all of that? And it was originally a cell phone-based game, so it didn't have boost up. It was just boost left and boost right. And we were having a really good time playing it. But the problem that we kind of encountered was most cell phone games are, the way that I like to put them is you play them when you're on the shitter,
Pretty much, yeah.
Unless you're playing a town game where you build stuff, and those games require a lot of money to make.
Sure.
But so that means realistically we're only going to make a shitter game, as in a game to play on the shitter, not a shit game. Sorry. So, when we were like, okay, so, this is, we kind of came to the conclusion that on like level 100 or something, you'd be playing that one level for an hour or something. And we're like, well, is this fun anymore? It's like, it's either that or by level 100, if we'd got the balance wrong, you'd be getting through the level in like 10 seconds because your guns would be so strong.
Yeah.
You'd have so much shields that you just tank through everything. And we're like, this just isn't working. So we actually put it on the back burner. And we ended up doing a couple of other things in the meantime. Like, I think we were working on Hyper Slasher for like 6 months. I think we released Color Boost in that time as well. And then, since Hyper Slasher was dragging a little bit, it was like, okay, I think we can go back to Power Gunner and just cut out as much as we can. And maybe we just make it so it's just one map that we just focus on just having, enemies pop in. And that's kind of what happened in the end. I can't remember if we had the asteroids coming down. I think that was actually added in because of it. And we were like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool if asteroids fly down and, Initially, when the asteroids hit the ground, it was going to create a crater in the actual ground.
Okay.
So, it'd have like an impact thing, which would make the levels slowly get more and more broken up. But the problem with that was, it was like, okay, well, that means we need to make it so the level's infinitely long, and then you're going to be having all these pillars that you have to kind of go up and go down. And it's like, this is starting to get a little bit complicated of a game design.
Indeed. Practicality of the game coming into play a little bit, despite the idea being a good idea, but then you go, yeah, but what happens when you start to get good at the game and the levels become more progressive, and you go, oh, actually, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it was one of those things. So it never eventuated. I think that is for the better that didn't happen. We got some things in there which makes it so that people know that they've played the level before. So if you die, your guns stay on the map, but they only stay on, like, every time you restart the level, the map regenerates, and the guns may fall through the map. And if that happens, they won't obviously be in the level. But sometimes when you're flying around, you might see a gun from your previous mission or the previous death, I should say. So we were trying to get a little bit of permanence in the game. Because we kind of noticed that people like it when you kind of recognize that they played it previously. Hence why we were trying to focus so heavily on the actual score chasing aspect of it. I'm actually planning on doing an update to Power Gunner where, so it's the top right, it's got your score. I want to make it so it shows who's above you in the leaderboards and who's below you in the leaderboards. So, yeah, excellent. So, when you get a new high score, it's like, okay, cool. Now it shows you beating people whenever you kill people, just to try and really hit the point home that you're progressing through the leaderboards. Yeah,
that's a cool idea. I like that. And again, to touch on that, because the two things that, again, I make it sound like I hate indie games. I really love playing lots of new indie games, but the two things I always come back to. Give me a goddamn tutorial to your game. I don't know how to play it when I first start. Please tell me how to play your game so I can play it well. And secondly, make my gameplay matter. Yep. And again, coming back to your game, you son of a bitch, setting the bar where you set it. The first thing you do when you play your game for the first time, and then it doesn't bother you after that, is it says, right, here's your tutorial. Here's how you play the game. It's super simple, it takes 30 seconds to do, and then once you've done it, the game goes, oh, you've already done it, you don't need to do it again, rather than, hey, do you want us to show you again? And the other thing, again, is make my gameplay matter. Your high score system is something that I've pontificated that a lot of other games include, because it's just, look, it's a subtle little thing, but it means that the next go, I go, okay, I only missed out by maybe a couple of 100 points, I can beat that. Or who's the guy ahead of me? Oh, I can beat that score. That'd be super set. All I need to do is this. It adds so much more to the enjoyment of a game, knowing how to play it and knowing how you'd stand in the scheme of things. And I think, 100% the design choice of saying, well, in-game, we're going to tell you how you're doing. We're going to tell you how close you are to the next guy and whether or not you've improved. I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of one of those ideas that I think I came up with a couple of days ago, maybe when I was drunk and high or something stupid like that. I don't think my parents will listen to this. It's legal in Canada anyway, right? It's all good.
There's no. I think I had a whole podcast on the subject of smoking weed at one point. I'd never even smoked a cigarette. To give you context, I was the other guy in the conversation, and the other buddy of mine was talking to me about it, and it's like, dude, it's not a taboo subject anymore. It's like, are you sure we can talk about this? Of course we fucking can. Talk about what the fuck we want. This is YouTube, baby. Talk about whatever the hell we want.
And good on you for sticking to your morals, because I mean, like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Well, look, everyone's got their vices. Look, I play games and lift weights to alleviate my stress. I'm not in a position to judge anyone else on how they choose to alleviate their stress in life, because, look, you got one life to live. You live it however the fuck you want to live it, my friend. I get bent out of shape when people start judging people on other stuff like that. It's a bit weird.
I never used to smoke weed, but I used to drink a fair bit, and now I'm like, well, kind of job's getting a little bit stressful, so it's like when I get home I can have a beer to calm myself down, or have a joint.
It's either that, or some people are going to start to cut the eyes off of postcards and stick them to their walls, dude. I know which one I think is healthier long term for someone's mental health. So you crack. Everyone wants to crack on. They can crack.
I might start hitting the gym though. That's probably a better use of my time. I certainly need so. I backcountry snowboard, and I put on far too much weight in the last.
You say that. I've been hitting the weights recently, and I'm just now realizing how old I am. I'm nearly 30. I can't do the things I used to do when I was 20. It turns out, like, I don't know, lift something without it hurting something else in my body. Like, wait a minute, I'm lifting stuff with my arms. Why is my back clicking? Those two things aren't linked. Now, this is weird. Do you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go play some more games. Safer. Much safer. Yep. But coming back to Power Gunner, so as far as the design of the game goes now, you're obviously planning on updating it, or you hope to, obviously. I mean, we all, again, I suspect you and I share that same sort of, oh, wouldn't that be a cool idea? Oh, wouldn't that be a great idea? But then when you try to apply it, it's a bit, that's not going to work. Well, what about this? Why don't we try this? Is there anything that you look back on when you were developing the game and you think, do you know what, if I could have just figured out that would have been really cool to add in? Or is there anything that, like, you think in the future, you go, do you know what, if I can just figure this out, this is going to be so freaking cool?
Yeah, I really wanted to get in alternate control schemes going in the game. So I had it so you could actually play with a controller and control the guns. And you might be going, well, that kind of changes everything completely, right? And it does.
It gives a whole new difficulty to the game.
Yeah, 100%. And like... I wanted it to be like advanced controls, so be a completely different leaderboard, because it just didn't make sense to put you up against the same people. But then I couldn't balance it. I just couldn't balance it because the bullets are coming from off screen. So how do you'd be able to fly a little bit off screen and shoot every enemy by just aiming in the direction that they are at. You'd be invincible.
Very good point.
And I spent a couple days on it. I was just like, this is a path that I should not be going down, because, I think the game sold. It sold less than 2,000 to my memory, and probably less than 1,000. I don't know the numbers. It's too depressing to look. But I'll say less than 10,000. That'll be safe. I don't know. Maybe there's a whole bunch. Maybe there's a whole bunch of sales that happened during this conversation.
Damn right there is. 100% there is. In fact, if anyone listens to this conversation and doesn't go out and buy Power Gunner right now, I swear to God, I'm going to come to your house and steal all your presents come Christmas time.
That's good. I'll help you. But
you cover the North Hemisphere, I'll cover the South. We'll lick it in a night.
Yeah, promise. Can't be that hard, right?
Santa does it every year.
But basically, I came to the conclusion, and this was something that was a very difficult point between me and my business partner. Was I kind of sat down one day and I was like, well, anything that takes longer than an hour or two, we're not doing, because we're not going to make money back on this game.
Sure.
So I was playing the game and I'm like, oh, there's no sound in the game. That has to be in there. And, each sound, I kind of broke the rule a little bit because that took a few days to put in. But I was like, well, each sound is going to take me less than an hour to put in. So,
Sure, I see what you're saying.
and each sound made a big difference, like, individual gun sounds for all the enemies. And so that means I had to, get all these different sound bites for every enemy. And it was things like that. How did we get up? What was the question again?
So, in terms of long term, is there anything that you thought about maybe putting into the game while you were developing it but couldn't quite get it fit? I mean, because again, to bring it back to YouTube, there's a ton of things. Like, I wanted to do weekly promos for videos. I thought it would be so cool to have like a pre-advert for each video, but do it stylized and go all out. But then I went, oh, it's going to take me a fucking day and a half to make. I'd rather focus on just making the goddamn review. So in your case, is to actually kind of lead into what you were talking about, which is, look, I'd love to do this, but any more than an hour, I'm kind of spinning my wheels to a certain degree. But was there anything that you would have looked at and gone, God damn, if I had a day to work on this, or a couple of days to work on this to add into the game, what do you think you would want to do?
What I'd want to do? Well, right now, it'd be that leaderboard thing, because I really want to make it so it shows more, trying to really get that hook going a little bit more. So the leaderboard hook is there, but you only see it once you're dead. And I really want to show, that it's important to try and climb up the leaderboard and to replay and try and get, a higher score. That's the thing. Like I've got a short plane flight, 12 to 14 hours, whatever it is, back to Vancouver, in a couple of days. I'm probably going to. Oh no, I won't be able to. Oh no, the airline used to have free internet, but because of all this stupid 777, I shouldn't say that. Sorry, that is actually really, really insensitive. Because of the 777 crashes, they no longer are flying the 777s, which all had in-flight Wi-Fi. And now we're flying, those horrible Dreamliners, which are so much more comfortable. They don't have in-flight Wi-Fi, so I can't do anything connected related, which is leaderboards. That sucks. Oh, that would have been a perfect time to do it.
Commuting and doing stuff is one of the few times that I think those two things actually work very, very well together. I think you're on the right track with that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I know my business partner would have a different thing that he'd want done. I know exactly what it would be. It's a shame. It's a shame he didn't. It's a shame he didn't turn up. But
Well, let's take this opportunity then instead to throw him under the. Where the hell? What I call and I write and I sit by the phone every weekend, and he never calls me. I feel terrible about bringing him into the world at this point. I can't believe this is how he repays me for all this. I mean, anyway, no, sorry, different conversation for a different time. So what happened? So what happened in terms of, is he just super busy with all this stuff?
I mean, to touch on pretty much everything that you've been saying, when you're making, or to bring the whole conversation kind of full circle here, I should say, when you're making indie games, as I say, there's tension, and I'm not an easy person to work with.
Preach.
Nobody's easy to work with.
So, exactly.
Nobody's easy to work with. Everyone has quirks. There are times, during development where those quirks get heightened. You haven't slept properly for a little while. Maybe you had a beer, and now because you've had that beer, you're like, oh, cool. I feel so much more energized, and the other person's got no energy at all. And because there's an energy imbalance, can you still hear me?
I can
I've just got to go and answer the door 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. We'll put pause on it.
Hi. Cheers, thank you. Don't know if you can still hear me at all.
I can indeed. I lied. I'm leaving it
That's
in.
That's fine. No worries. I've got a wireless headset, so I can walk around the house. I just don't know I don't know how far I can travel.
This is the beauty of doing podcast interviews rather than the sit-down interview. Like, if we all had to have television-style interviews, it would all be like, oh, for the love of... Now we've got to redo the whole damn thing, and fucking Johnny, where's my writer, and all the rest of it. It's like, who cares? just record the damn thing, and if it's funny to listen to or if it's fun to listen to, then upload the damn
exactly,
thing.
Exactly. So anyway, sorry, as I was saying, to get back to it, I don't know what it was. It was something for my...
The collaborative juices were flowing. Sometimes those juices imbalance because of different priorities, different mindsets, and different work ethics.
Exactly. And so, it's fair to say that we're not on the best terms at the moment. We're not on the worst terms. But it's heightened by the fact that you release a game that, like, we've released 4 games together, and none of them have done well. None of them have done well enough for us to earn a living off, not even close. And so, you start getting more and more frustrated, and you're like, it's kind of this, what is it, gambler, he's like, I'm going to win tonight. Tonight's the night.
Yes, yeah, the one more go mentality of, but if we just done this time, we can... This time, I don't know if the reference will carry. This time next year, Rodney will be millionaires. I don't know if that reference will carry.
Oh,
Only Fools and Horses.
Only Fools and Horses. I definitely did watch it a little bit, but no, not enough for it to carry.
It's alright. Anytime I want to get a win over my American compatriots, whenever I converse with them, just throw in a little bit of Only Fools and Horses, it goes right over their heads. They just agree with whatever you say. Because they go, okay, apples and pears? Alright. And they're like, they just have no idea what to make of it. But now, let me time myself into that, because I had a situation not too long ago. In fact, it was the same guy, the guy I collaborated with. Basically, it was like, he was very much of the mindset of, we have to grow this thing at all costs. Doesn't matter about the... And it's like, no, dude, I care about what I cover. I want to cover things I'm passionate about. And we had a bit of a falling out. We then got, we had another conversation. We floated the idea of doing another video. It didn't pan out, but that doesn't mean we can't revisit it down the road. You know what I mean? It's like, look, just right now, the opportunity isn't there to collaborate. It's no big deal. Doesn't mean we have to, it just is what it is. Sometimes you want to go and do your own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't think we're on horrible terms. I mean, if he listens to this, we'll see. I'll probably get daggers. I mean, I did give him the opportunity to turn up, but, at the same time, I wasn't getting replies, and, there's only so much you can handle being ghosted.
Well, there's that, but there's also the thing of, look, I really wanted to talk, because, again, I've not reached out to every developer of every game that I've spoken to about doing a podcast. I do reach out to every developer about the games I cover. I feel it's only fair for me to go, hey, I'm reviewing your game, do you mind if I ask a few questions? But the games that I want to give a bit more exposure to, or at least get the excuse to go back and play again and talk about and have a valid excuse for it, are the ones that I like. And your game was one I really liked. Because, again, I'm really not going to drill this point home, I promise. But it was a really good game. And the one after that sucked. And the one after that sucked. And the one after that sucked too. To the point where I wondered, wow, why did I play your game? I wish I'd have started on a sucky one and come on to yours. But the point is that it was fun. And it was also fun to sit and think about what it would be like to talk to you making it. And it's just one of those things where it's kind of rumbled on. We want to talk about it while the iron is still reasonably hot. The game only came out a few months ago. People can still go out and buy it. And they should. And remember, if you don't, Christmas presents, kiss them goodbye.
Oh, exactly.
But what are your thoughts having, the collaboration of it all? How do you feel about the future of the game in terms of what you think you can put into it? What you think you want to invest in it? Because, as you said, there's a line now. It's like, look, I've got other things to do, but I do still want to support the game.
I'm going to put that leaderboard update in. Me and my business partner had talked about doing a large update to the game where he wanted to add in a couple more enemies. But since he's the artist in it all, I shouldn't just say he's just the artist. He does more than that, so, but I'm predominantly the coder. He's predominantly the artist. So... I can't really just put my own art in there. It'll be a drastic difference in quality. So, it's until I get those assets, I'm not really going to be putting in any more enemies, which is a little bit unfortunate. I can only do subtle things here and there. So, I'm going to be looking at getting the leaderboard changes in. We've got like one extra ship skin, and we're going to make it so you can change ship, and maybe I'll put that in and just make it so there's two different ships. Initially, it was going to be pay to unlock the different ships because they had different stats. But if there's only two, two ships. Oh, when I say pay, I don't mean real world money. I mean in-game money, which you'd get by killing a couple of things. You'd never pay to.
I've seen other systems that work that way. In fact, one system I saw in a game had me genuinely confused because it had its in-game currency. This is a mistake I hope you don't make, by the way. In-game currency, but didn't label what the currency was called. Then they put the thing where it says you can buy this thing for $100. But that can't be right. There's no way that you're putting $100 fucking purchase in your goddamn game. Turns out it was the in-game currency. They just hadn't labelled it to say it was dollars and dollars. It was like, well, thank fuck for that because it's a 99-cent game and you put $100 purchase in it. Get the fuck out of here. Maybe look into that though.
$100 purchase. I've thought about it. like you just.
Everything gold-plated.
Years ago there was an app on the Apple Store. It was called Diamond or something, and the person basically put the most expensive price of an app that he could, and it was like $9,999, and it was just a photo of a diamond, or just a drawing of a diamond.
Just a drawing. Oh, please let it be the drawing. The photo, at least, it's a quality diamond. If it's a drawing, that's amazing.
Something like that. And Apple quickly pulled it, but I think a couple people purchased it. I'm sure they got their money refunded.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's one of those things where it got attention on the internet about it. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, if I do something really, really dumb like that, it might get attention, which might get more which will get more sales. Like if I,
unfortunately.
But at the same time, I don't. I think we're like with the majority of the people on the planet. We like to do things honestly, and but at the same time, it's tempting to be shady.
Well, look, you do want to speak, but you've got a business to run, and this is how I explain it because I work in a business where we're in a business that's necessary, but no one likes us, and it's like, but that's when you employ your own brand of ethics. All right, we need to stay in operation, but we have to stay ethical, and that's where you have to start drawing lines. And in game development, because this was a question I was going to ask you just generally about gaming. Because you mentioned that you maybe burnt out a little bit. Was it just the development of gaming, or was it just the culture of gaming as a whole that you've burnt out a little bit on?
I'd definitely say the development of it. I mean, if you've seen Hyper Slasher, the other game that we have in development, that game we basically decided to take everything that we hated about the community and put it into it. So when we were making the game, my business partner and I were like coming up with things to put in the game, and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, what else do we need?" And I'm like, "Oh, we should put in teabag." And he's like, "Yeah, we should put in duck." I'm like, "No, we're not putting duck into the game. I'm not going to stuff that. Like, we're going to put in teabagging in the game." And he's like, and he kept on going back, and he's like, "Oh yeah, and when you duck, it'll lower your hitbox, so that means you can duck under the swords." I'm like, no. It's literally teabagging. You get no benefit for doing it. You don't duck under the sword. Nothing good comes from it. You just teabag. And in the controller mapping, it's labeled teabagging.
Oh, God, I used to hate that so much. Is that still a thing? Because I don't play online very often, unless it's for a specific review. Is teabagging still a thing, or have gamers moved on to other ways of trolling each other?
Well, I used to play Rust quite a lot. It's been probably 2 years since I last played Rust, and 2 years ago it was still a thing.
Oh, wow, then it still definitely is a thing. Okay. Well, in a sense, I mean, just because, again, generally curious, I'm having a sift through the Steam community reviews of the game, and they're all positive, by the way. One stuck out for me, though. Ed Hacks OR. You might find this helpful. The cheap hooker I paid for a blowy wasn't quite working, and this was the stimulation I needed. Recommended.
I love reviews like that.
I don't think that's a more glowing review, to be perfectly honest with you.
I love reviews like that. I love the stupidity of the community. You know, it's one of those things where I'm like, you know, if people are enjoying themselves, and you know, a review like that as well. Like, what I love about a review like that is that review could go viral and make the game. You know, it's one of those things where you're like, yes, please be more stupid on reviewing this game, and maybe one of those reviews will help me out. But please don't negatively review it, because if you negatively review my game, it really screws me over.
Yes, unfortunately. Well, but then again, man, on YouTube, it's engagement is engagement. That's the sad thing, and I think that's bleeding into the game community, which is, look, doesn't matter if it's good or bad, just get people to notice. And it's like, but like, aren't we supposed to be aiming for the good stuff? Isn't that the point? No. You just need everyone clicking on the thing. Just everyone clicking on it all the time. Yeah, but I don't know. But coming back to the reviewing aspect of like that review, for instance, I asked this of Baby Ducker, the previous interviewee, and I asked this of Polundra, another interviewee. And you feel free to not answer this question, because I know it's a polarizing question to the people that purchase your games. What's the most annoying thing that gets brought up as far as critique about the games that you've produced, would you say? Because by far and away the one that gets my reviewer friends annoyed, and so far both of the guys that I've interviewed, when people criticise the menus. And they go on and on about, yeah, so I was in your menus and it weren't clearly labelled and they weren't ergonomic. And it's like, seriously? We're having a conversation about the menu screen right now.
You know...
Do you have a pet peeve, or is it... No, I love all criticism.
Well, you know, I mean, criticism is one of those things that's hard to take. You know, with people who are complaining about, you know, reviewers complaining about their menu system, well, you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, they are incorrect there. And, you know, that's a little bit blunt. I accidentally put up a bad version of Power Gunner when it was either before release or just after release, and you couldn't use the controller in the menu anymore. And the first thing the guy goes is that the controller isn't working in the menu, and I was like, oh shit, shit.
Oh, he's probably
he's got a point, and I just went to it. I'm like, oh shit, I put up a bad version. You know, quickly fixed it. I was like, shit, because the thing about them, like, before I'm too harsh on the people, I actually don't know what was said about their menus. You know, so you know, it could be exaggerated, or could be overblown what the people were saying about their menus. But you know, one thing that I've always tried to really emphasize is the flow. And my business partner's brother, he's had quite a few successful games on Steam. And, you know, I got him to look over our menus a fair bit. And, you know, he's really emphasizes the flow of entering a game and leaving a game. And it's part of the reason why all of his games have done so well, is you want to, like, if somebody loads up the game and gets discouraged by a menu, they're just going to refund it right away. And you don't want that. So.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's a fair point. But the reason I flag it is because it's not just the game the game developers. But a buddy of mine by the name Defunct Games, who I reference all the time on the channel because he's probably the person I take most inspiration from. One of his pet peeves in the comment section is people moaning about the fact that he doesn't cover the menus of games.
Nah.
But that's my point, because he's like, what? And he asked me the question was, he's like, do you think I should be? And I went, dude, let me ask you a question. How important do you think the menu screen is to the overall experience of a game, to the point where you have to have a specific section of every single one of your reviews covering if the game has a good menu screen? Like, it has nothing to do with the fun factor of a game. It can be a pet peeve, it can be something that annoys people, for sure, if a menu isn't ergonomically designed, just like anything else. But the point is, It's not relevant. It's almost people being so entitled to their opinion that they let it get in the way of whether or not they find something fun or not. Like, I have to have something to say about this. It can't just be, yeah, it was fun.
No.
It's got to be, oh yes, well, yeah, and it's like, oh, come on, man. Again, in the case of Power Gunner, it's refreshing actually to see that the community has been fair to the game. I think that broadly speaking, it's been nothing but positivity.
Yeah, I think probably, definitely to the menus. Okay, I haven't encountered that. I don't know. Menus are menus. If they don't work, call them out on it. If they do work, who cares?
Of course, yeah. 100%.
That would be my opinion on it. It frustrates me as a developer that we have spent so much time on menus. Like, we made our menu look all good. You think that took an hour? You know it didn't. I'd much rather have a blank text menu that was just like start game. But, it's got to be warm and inviting and all of that, and I understand, and fair enough, but it's, a menu is a menu. But, yeah. Probably, I haven't encountered that so much, fortunately or unfortunately, and probably unfortunately. If I'd seen that more, maybe I'd have more sales. But I think probably one of my pet peeves is some of the reviews that I've noticed, they don't really equate it back to the cost of the game. So with me releasing a $1 game, it's like, well, yeah,
it's a buck. I mean, come on. You could literally, crawl around the back of your sofa, scrape up whatever you happen to find out there. Chances are there's a buck back there.
Exactly.
Like, that's what we're asking for the game. Basically to cover our costs. That's all we're asking for. We're not... You are right. I don't see many reviewers, in fact, actual reviewers, taking into account the price of the game all that often. That's
so that would probably be my pet peeve. Is like when you're like one thing that whenever we were designing a game, we're like, okay, what's the price point that we're going to hit? Because that will determine not necessarily the effort we put in, but it'll determine how large the game will be. Because if we were to expand on Power Gunner to where we wanted to take it, or where we could have taken it, with the levels and all of that, it's like, well, if we're doing that, that means we can't charge $1 for it. It has to go probably into the $3 to $5 range. But then, it's like, well, if we're doing that, it's probably going to take another 6 months of development, and, will we get the money back for it? So, it's like, well, I wish people would equate it back. It's like, okay, this costs a Starbucks coffee, or this costs, the coins behind your couch.
That's a fair point. You have to look at it from the perspective of, because I mean, again, to bring it back to my reviews, I always take the price into account because I get that price isn't everything, but it certainly factors into the fact that, look, this game might not have all the polish or it might not have all the features, but it's a buck. Like, come on, if I was 10 years old again, I would get. Do you know how much money I used to have to spend just to buy a game?
Exactly.
Like, you couldn't just buy dollar games. You had to pay. The equivalent back in the day was like 30 quid for a game, which I don't know you always have to make it for the US dollar. So I don't know, 40 or 50 bucks for a game. And that was PS, you know what I mean? N64, one game. 50. And it didn't, and it could have sucked.
They did.
And they often did. It was only the ones that you saw all of your other buddies playing that you would take the risk on buying. A buck for a game, and people, again, have been reasonably positive, but by the same token, I guarantee you, if you go on YouTube or on Reddit or on Twitter or wherever else the game is marketed, there's going to be someone that goes, well, I didn't think the game's production was all that good at all. I thought the controls were clunky, and you go, dude, it's a buck. Like, you need to alter. Do you walk into McDonald's and go, well, I thought the service was terrible, to be perfectly honest. No one offered to see me to my seat. And what do I have to do to get some breadsticks at my table? Like, dude, you're eating the dollar saver menu.
Exactly.
Chill.
No, exactly. It's one of those things where it's like Call of Duty costs $60 US. This game costs $1. Now in Call of Duty, okay, you could probably easily sink 1,000 to 2,000 hours in it. But I figure if you get an hour out of our game, doing pretty good, right, for a buck.
Well, the other thing as well, look, you have to be in a very specialised environment to play that game. I've played your game, no word of a lie, right? So I've played your game in between writing reviews, in between doing reviews, in between gym sessions. I've played it in between work sessions, on my lunch break. I've played it on a commute. It's a great game for that. It's a classic arcade style game. Again, that half an hour fun blast of. Really, it can be frantic or it can be more relaxed towards the beginning of it. It can be as competitive as you want it to be if you want to pay attention to the high scores. It can be as delicate as you want to be if you want to focus less on combat and more on survival, or more aggressive if you want to really go for all the power-ups and take down all the enemies. It's just a really well-balanced and really well-put-together game. There's not really any other way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. Thank you for one.
I'm just calling it how I see it.
But it's one of those points that kind of is a little bit sore for me. Is that I do wish more reviewers took that into account. I remember that you definitely were very kind on that as well. But at the same time, I guess I'm kind of sore on that because I'm like, well, I released a $1 game. How come people aren't recognizing that it's a $1 game and it's got a lot of good to it. But at the same time, it is fine. We knew it was a risk. We had a long-term plan of trying to release the game every 3 months, and kind of have a couple of losses at the start of it, and then release decent quality games at $1. After we've released like 4 or 5, then maybe shoot for getting out Hyper Slasher. Which if Hyper Slasher did well, then people would start looking at our back catalog.
But plug the hell, good as time as any. What's the rest of the back catalogue in terms of the other games that you produced, or other games you want to talk about, or you want to?
Well, we've only got the games on mobile right now, which is like Red Light Runner, and they're only on only on Android now because Apple costs $100 a year, and I couldn't be bothered paying $100 a year for games that were making $5 a year.
Yeah, the return's not really justifying the investment at that point.
We've only got 3 mobile games on Android right now, which is Red Light Runner, Power Gunner, and Blast Return. Sorry, not Power Gunner, Color Boost. Yeah, I don't know. I am debating putting Power Gunner onto mobile. Like we do have mobile controls or mobile-friendly controls, and it's one of those games where I feel it would do good on mobile, but
I agree.
Just need to once me and my business partner start communicating again, which hopefully we do. Then maybe we'll start looking at things a little bit further there.
No, in that case, then I'll take the liberty then. If any of what you've heard has tickled your fancy, then. And if you've managed to make it to this point with all your Christmas presents still intact, because you've already purchased Power Gunner, well done you. Megatoastgames.com is the place you visit for the links, albeit you can also go to Megatoast Games on Facebook as well. There's also Megatoast. There's a wiki of you on Giant Bomb, albeit it doesn't give a tremendous amount of information.
I should update that.
Which is a bit
I'll
annoying.
update it. What should I put on it?
Everything. The threat, first of all, buy Power Gunner or you lose your Christmas presents. That's your tagline.
Sure.
But yeah, obviously follow on the Twitter and all the rest of that good jazz. But most importantly, and I said this about Baby Ducker's game as well, go and support the game. I can't emphasize enough. I know it's like a buck's a buck. Like I've gotten how many? I think I've gotten 12 hours out of the game so far, playing it and reviewing it. Like, again, I know I'm probably playing it more than other people, but that's only because I can promise you this, right? I tend to review the games I enjoy playing. Now, that's not the best tact to have as a reviewer. Like, you want to review a wide variety of games, a smorgasbord, an amuse-bouche, if you will, of games. I kind of want to review the games I like playing, because then it gives me an excuse to play them a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And Power Gunner was the first one that I had that niggly feeling of, I want to go play it again for 10 minutes. I was excited when I got to download it and play it again.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where I think as a game developer as well, you need to really focus on what games you enjoy as well. Like I enjoy playing Power Gunner. I definitely enjoy playing Hyper Slasher. I really should send you a key for that. I'll get an updated version when I get back to Vancouver. I'll put it up on Steam and I can send you a key. And it's really a 4-player local experience currently. I'll put AI back into the game, but the AI is terrible. But at least it'll be there, right?
Yeah, 100%. It'll still kick my ass.
Oh no, they kind of start jumping and spazzing out, and it's just a little bit weird.
Then it'll be all the more embarrassing when I lose. But still, I'll give it the old college try.
But it's not really ready for review yet. It's not quite finished, but you're more than welcome to play it. You're more than welcome to put.
I guarantee you, it's still going to be better than Putin Run Out. The game I literally reviewed the game after yours. I guarantee. Okay, let me ask you a question. Does Hyper Slasher have a cartoon Putin that slowly undresses the more you progress in the game?
That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible.
I'll take that as a no. Your game is better than Putin Run Out. Congratulations.
That sounds horrific.
Do you know what? Genuinely, it was one of those games, like we were talking about earlier, about games that are literally just going after the, notice me vibe, the shock and awe, the whatever. I was really, in a sadistic way, looking forward to playing that game because I thought it was going to go for the political lampooning. Like, I don't know, okay. This is part of it, right. A lot of people are probably going to tune out this bit. Do you remember playing games like back in the day, like I remember distinctly in IT class, not working on IT, going on to stuff like Mousebreaker or Newgrounds or whatever, and there were games like the Michael Jackson throwing babies out of a hotel balcony game, and then there was the one where you got to punch Osama bin Laden, and there was another one where you were hitting squirrels off of golf clubs. And like those kinds of games where they were literally thought, what's the most offensive thing we could make a game out of? And Putin Run Out, I thought, was going to be another one of those kinds of games where it's like, wow, this is going to be so stupid and so offensive. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how much it's going to offend me. And it really wasn't anything. It was just posh. And coming off a Power Gunner, that was disappointing.
Yeah, those are all those point-and-click games, aren't they, where you have to...
Old school point-and-click games.
I've seen a bunch of them, and I'm like, man, these are terrible. Like, I saw one which was Russian Life Simulator, and those guys have they've got Steam cards, so that means they've sold a whole bunch of copies. Either that, or maybe it's if you give away a bunch of copies, you get Steam cards.
I have to admit to you, as a review, because I don't know how many games you get via Steam or anything, the Russian games tend to be the first ones to approve a Steam request. I don't know if it's because they have bots doing it or whatever, but I have Steam codes for games that are made by Russian developers, and I look at them and I go, this is not a game. This is not a game. There's no objective and it's not fun. I don't know how it meets the criteria of game. It doesn't. But I don't know. I come from a generation where games used to be fun and colourful and full of, character and purpose and all that good jazz. And cheat codes. I remember those being a thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of weird. Like, definitely, we at one point, I don't know if it was a serious conversation or a joking conversation. I mean, my business partner, we were like, we could always just reskin this a couple of times and re-release it. It wouldn't take that long to just change it from, a normal sky to a pink sky.
Yeah, it could happen, but I get the feeling that you guys wouldn't do that because you're like, yeah, we could, but come on, if we're gonna do it, let's do this right. Let's find another angle, and that's the thing with Power Gunner. It has a unique angle on the genre, and I think whenever you start a game off in that vein of saying, look, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, we're just trying to make a cooler wheel. You know what I mean? I think you're off to a good start with that, because you can only then improve the quality, improve the content, add to it, refine it, which is what it sounds like you guys were trying to do, and it sounds like that's what you're going to continue to do.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we definitely, definitely hope that we get at least a Hyper Slasher out. I know that Dave is still continuing on his games. He released a game late last year, on Steam. Oh, I've forgotten the name. It's just right at the tip of my tongue. I know that he's working with another game developer, but I don't know too much more about that. But, at the same time, I wish him all the best. I hope, I hope anything that he does well, of course. The last thing that I'd ever do is wish bad upon people, because really, that's pretty immature.
Oh, this is going to make this next part of the interview. I was just going to say, is there anyone you want to call out? Anyone you want to...
Like negative?
No? Okay, just me then.
No,
okay,
you mean...
that guy who pushed past me at the train station today, screw you,
pal.
Man, I hope all your cats don't get let in this evening. I hope they're slightly malnourished. Ha!
I dragged somebody off at the lights last night. I'm in New Zealand and in my parents' car, and my parents' car is pretty powerful. And I got to the lights first. The guy pulls up next to me. He pulls like a meter ahead of me, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You're in an SUV. You're in a people mover. And so I burnt him off, and then he starts like flashing me with his high beam. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is a nice car. It auto dims the light, the mirrors for me. You're not doing anything to me. And then he starts following me, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm in a car. You can't hurt me. Are you going to crash into me? Because then I'm just going to call the cops. This is a really stupid endeavor that you're doing. This is not going to help anyone.
Stupid indeed. Just winding down the window, just vent at you for 5 seconds and pretend to be hard and drive off. That's all that would have happened in that situation.
Oh, that's pretty much what happened. He followed me down a couple of streets, and then he turned down somewhere, and I was like, oh, okay, if you'd followed me for one more block, you would have found out my destination.
Yeah. That happens all too often over here, so yeah, you're in good company with that. It's like, what do we do? Like, I've had 2 experiences with guys who've gotten out of their cars to come up to me personally and say, I'm in the wrong for cycling, and I go, what do we do? Are we going to have a fight? Is that what we're doing here? And they both get back on their cars after puffing their chests out, and it's like, we've literally just wasted 10 minutes of each other's lives. We're never going to get that back,
exactly.
guys. Seriously.
And like, if they had followed me, it's like, well, you do realize I'm going to my mate's place, and he's a pro wrestler, and now I'm not strong in any way, shape, or form, but like, my friends are. My friends are.
Like friends' numbers and stuff. Oh yeah, I picked up some moves. Watch this. 07930. Yeah? Come and kick this guy's ass. You're gonna see some shit now,
I was
brother.
literally driving to my mate's place because, I try and hang out with all my mates when I'm in New Zealand, and, it's like, well, all my friends are, like, they run a pro wrestling company here in New Zealand, so it's like, well, I'm not saying they'd go out and beat the shit out of them. I'd say they'd get out of their house and go like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, this guy's being a jerk, and they'd be like, well, he should really stop that, and then the person would probably stop it.
Should know his role and shut his mouth.
Yes, exactly. Of course, quoting the great Rock.
Pro wrestling fan yourself, by
I used to be. Used to watch it all the time. Me and my mates. That's how they all got into it. We used to tell work, like we used to used to have part-time jobs here and there, and we'd say, I can't go to work on Sundays. We got church. It was always nothing. So in New Zealand, Sunday morning, it would show WCW on TV. So we would all go over to a mate's place, watch church. It's just like the amount of times they were called up. Hey, Karl, can you come in Sunday? Like, I can come in Sunday evening. Can't come in the morning. Church, Wouldn't want to disrespect, the great leader who the champion was at the time.
WCW. Dearie me, that's that. We could get into that whole business, but if you see them again, tell them I hope AEW does okay, because hopefully if they do okay and they're running their own promotion, then they might tour and they might get noticed, because AEW is making some waves, and the indie developers indie pro wrestling circuit is a bit of a paradise in America at the moment. So hopefully they get a bit of the love shared. I don't know New Zealand pro wrestling all that well, unfortunately, as I'm sure it's not. Doesn't come as much as a surprise. But,
they run the largest wrestling organisation in New Zealand. Which is pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like if take it for what it is. I don't know any details, but they all have full-time jobs, so that says to me.
Yeah, but that's true of a lot of it. Do you know what? Wrestling and, again, gaming as a whole tends to share a lot of parallels in the sense that you... Put it this way, there's no school you go to learn a lot of this stuff. There are places that are open that will teach you some things, and some even might call themselves schools, but kind of no. You kind of have to learn. You have to learn as you go, you have to make your own pitfalls, and you have to learn how to get ahead
They've
on
done really, really well. It's just more like, it's not making enough money for them to quit their day job, is what I mean, sorry. Which is really, really unfortunate, because, I mean, they really put a lot of effort into it. But again, it is what it is, right?
It is what it is. But I mean, again, to bring it back to I hope you don't mind that I keep bringing it back to, because one of my pet peeves of interviews is when they go off topic and then they don't come back to the reason why they're talking about it, and it's like, what were we talking about again? Power Gunner. Oh yeah, that game you made.
Very good there.
Oh well, I'm just a humble lad trying to make his way in life, but. Power Gunner, just so everyone is reminded, it's available via the website, via the link. It's available on Steam right now. I'm sure you can get other links to it other places, but also go check out some of the other games as well. I would consider it. Obviously, if you need further validation, my review is still available. It's still as valid now as it was then. I was better dressed then than I am now, so that might count for something. I don't know.
Well,
I think that was when I was still wearing the suit, so...
Yeah. Well, I put your quote up on the Giant Bomb thing. It won't come up for a couple of days. So buy Power Gunner, or I'll steal your presents. We'll see if it gets approved. I don't think it will. But
I'll make a YouTube video. Just say it'd just be one line. Buy Power Gunner. Or
don't forget about the other good games that you've enjoyed as well. I mean, as an indie developer, you really want to share the love with all the other indie devs as well. Like, you like to see the true passionate people, succeed, as opposed to, I don't know, those Russian simulator games that you play. You're like, stop it.
Great. Other indie developers doing great and everything. Yeah, Power Gunner's where it's at right now, though. That's where you need to be playing. You need to be playing this game. It's not a question of if, when, or how, or why. You play this game, or life itself ceases to exist. I can't underemphasize the enormity of the task before... Okay, maybe I'm overselling it a little bit. But still, I would appreciate it if people would go out and go and play the game, and go and buy the game, and go support this. Honestly, I can't say thank you enough for, number one, extending me a copy of the code to begin with, and number two, extending me your time not only in answering questions, but also agreeing to participate in it. Is this an interview? I don't know if it's an interview. I feel like it is. A little bit. I feel like it isn't an interview if you ask me a question.
I don't know if I've asked you many questions. How is how is it being a YouTuber? How about that?
There you go. That counts as it not being an interview anymore. It sucks.
There you go. I mean, I really hope that you're doing all right. I mean, it's so hard. Yep. Okay. I wasn't subscribed to your thing. Oh God, I'm sorry about that, dude. I'm subscribed now.
It's not a problem at all. I will be perfectly honest with you, okay? Much in the same vein as it is with game development, you see other games doing okay and yours doesn't, and it's a bit frustrating. I have a buddy of mine that all he does is he covers No Man's Sky.
Yep.
That's all he covers. He has a YouTube channel that's been going 2-3 months. He already has 3 times the subscribers than I do. And I go, how? What? How? And it's just because people know exactly what they're going to tune into when they watch a channel. Whereas my channel, I cover indie games, I cover everything. I'm doing these interviews as well. People don't quite know what they're tuning in for.
Yeah.
And that apparently has a detrimental effect. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm doing new things. And that's bad.
But you never know.
I apologise.
You never know what's gonna hit, right? You never know what's gonna work. You never know what's gonna fail. And if you keep on covering the same thing, I guess you'll get more people who like that. But I couldn't do that.
No.
Like a friend of mine used.
Well, it'd be like you doing a 5th Power Gunner installment 2 years from now.
My plan is to do the snowboarding game if my business partner and I start getting along better, which I'm sure we will. Plan on releasing Hyper Slasher, and then my RPG game that I've been wanting to do for years. So those are my...
Ooh, RPG
yeah. I want it to be more in the vein of Final Fantasy VII, like that type of battle system. I used to really like that battle system. But it's going to be storyline focused. I've got a story in mind that I want to do, but obviously, which I can't say too much about. if we otherwise, what can I tell you about it? It'll be a time travel story, but that doesn't tell you anything.
I got something out of you. I'll count that as a win.
I've told a couple people about it. They're not as passionate about my idea as I am. I'm like, screw you, you're wrong, I'm right.
I trust, again, similar company, I've had a million ideas where I say, this is the greatest idea in the world, you send it to other people. Sometimes they just don't get it, dude. Sometimes it's like, I don't quite get it. Not quite sure I get it. And you go, how can you not get it? But, again, context is a funny thing. You got to let them find it on their own.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. we'll see. We'll see if I ever get it out.
I got that.
Yeah, because I just absolutely hate time travel, and I want it to be done properly. I was against the Avengers, how they did it in Avengers. Like, it wasn't bad, but to me it just didn't make any sense in a couple of aspects, unless you start going, fuck it, who gives a shit? Kind of like in Looper, I was just like, this is just stupid. And I get it. In the movie, the guy goes, don't think about it. And I'm like, well, how can you not think about it? The guy's climbing a fence and his fingers are coming off. Spoiler alert.
I suppose then the new Terminator is driving you a little bit insane.
Haven't seen it. Gonna go see it. The last Terminator drove me nuts, and I used to be a massive Terminator fan. The last Terminator really, really put me off. I've heard good things about the new one, so I'll see it. But yeah, so they've got an all timey-wimey then, have they?
They've got all timey-wimey again.
Yeah, I do watch Doctor Who. I haven't watched since Jodie Whittaker took over. Not because I'm against women being the Doctor, but because I have no way of watching it.
Well, there's that, but I think Doctor Who's kind of gone past. It's had its moment to be kind of interesting, but now it's doing the same thing over, and it's the same as CW shows. It's a nice idea for the first season, but it's kind of lost its way over the last couple of years. It is what it is. It's had its.
Yeah, I loved it when David Tennant was on. I enjoyed Matt Smith, and then.
Yeah, you try pronouncing his name.
Peter Capaldi.
I can't. Yeah. That's it. That's the one.
I really like Peter Capaldi. Capaldi. Well, yeah, okay. Fuck it, I'm screwing up. I really like Peter. But just some of the storylines were just too convoluted for their own good. I was like, you're just being tricky for the sake of being tricky. Kind of like I liked Ocean's 11, and then 12 and 13, I was just like, really? You're just making it so it's impossible to figure out what's going on. Like, that's part of the fun of watching something, is to unravel the mystery, and if it's impossible to unravel the mystery because you made it too convoluted, it's no longer enjoyable.
I couldn't agree with you more. But then again, it's
hard to do.
It's like anything else. Do you bank on a well-known franchise and just do it and just try to make the best of it, or do you go out with an original IP and hope that enough people get invested? It's unfortunately the latter rather than the former these days. That's why I do lament indie, because it happens every time when I say I review indie games. What's an indie game? Well, it's a game by an independent developer who's making a game pretty much from scratch. They might have some store-bought assets, or they might cobble together some things and then produce it themselves. Why wouldn't you just play the games that are marketed to you via YouTube? Well, because they're all kind of they all look very nice, but they're all kind of the same, whereas indie games have a different flavour to each game because they're all made differently and they all come together differently. And yeah, but I don't get it. But there's not much to get, man. It's like...
it's super frustrating because, oh god, a friend of mine was showing me a Skyrim mod the other day. It was one of the most amazing storylines I've ever even heard of. I don't know if you played Skyrim much at all, or with the mods. It was basically this...
I used to, yeah. About a year ago I stopped playing Skyrim for the last time, but I had the definitive edition with the Xbox One, and that has all the mods sort of patched into
it.
That's
what he's got as well. He he was like, so the story is basically you're a guy who fights this person, and then you get the key to this boathouse room, and the ghost keeps on saying, don't go in there, don't go in there, but of course, and if you take the key back, you finish the game. But if you go into the boathouse, you get into this world where there's no crime or anything, and if a crime is committed, everyone dies. And then you have to unravel what's actually happening to finish it. And it's something like, there's one point where you need to get shoes off this guy, but if you kill the guy, everyone dies. So what you actually have to do, but then you find out that if there's a way to actually exit the boathouse and go back into the real world. So what you do is you kill him and then leave the place as quickly as possible, go back and the world resets. So you've now got these shoes.
Ah, okay.
And I'm just like, whoa! Whoa, that is a fucking amazing idea! Whoa! Just blew my mind. I was just like, this is like.
But that's kind of where Skyrim became. Do you know what? Do you know what? Skyrim's a good example. If I was going to try and explain the idea of indie games to people, it's like, right, you've heard of Skyrim, right? You've heard that people break it and build it and do whatever they want with it to a large degree. They did something kind of similar with GTA for a little while, where people were just modding fucking everything into it to make it underwater or fucking Infinity War or whatever. Like, it's just people using the same ideas and concepts, but building something that they want to see and play. That's really it, indie games in a nutshell. And the good indie developers tend to have a very clear, strong vision and good technical skills, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, but the bad ones are the ones that you hear about. Yeah, I get it, but those are the ones you shouldn't be buying the game just to see how bad it is. Those are the ones you shouldn't be supporting. But again, so the game's about something dumb. Well, yeah, you could play that one, or you could go play Power Gun. A Power Gun is a really fun game. It's put weapons together. I think we're going to play the dumb game. That sounds like more fun. Does it though? Does it?
Yeah,
though?
I don't know why people do that. I mean, I admittedly have bought my own dumb games. Like I bought Surgeon Simulator a while ago, and I was like, I bought it because of the stupidity of it, and then I realized I don't actually like it. It's a really well put together game, but I realized I didn't like it, just because it's a game made to frustrate you, and it's really just a game to create YouTube videos. And you know, don't get me wrong, it's a very impressive product. But I realized that I wasn't getting enjoyment out of it. It was just pissing me off. So why am I playing a game that's pissing me off?
Some people enjoy the frustration, I guess. I mean, obviously, in your case, you don't, but
yeah, oh, exactly. And you know, everyone's different, right? That's
yes, but to your point, the taste in gaming seems to have shifted.
yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be too generic. Online, at least, it's a question of, right, what are you offering me beyond the single-player campaign? What are you offering me beyond this, that, the other? And it's like, well, yeah, I guess, but like, it used to be that the barometer of a game was its core mechanics and how fun it was to play from the get-go, not what it's offering you beyond.
Yeah.
That's why I think indie games get a bad rap, because it's like, well, I mean, okay, in your case, the fact that your game is a buck, you wouldn't expect it to have DLC and download and fucking, you know, all the add-ons that a AAA game would have. But the second you go, well, so it doesn't have this and doesn't have this, oh, well then it doesn't sound like it's worth playing. No, you're missing the point. The game is supposed to be fun. That's all it's supposed to do. It's not meant to be necessarily a social experience. It's not meant to be this large fucking existential description on life or making this grand point about capitalism or something. Sometimes it's just, hey, this is fun. I'm going to keep doing this for a little while. And that's it. But
I'm debating in my snowboarding game to put in climate change, and I'm like, but it's one of those things that would I'll put it in as a stretch goal. It'll make more sense. I'll send you a build in hopefully 4 weeks. It'll be super rough though, like squares.
I ask you, do you have a shirtless Putin running through a field of social justice activists? No, then your game will be better than Putin run out. I promise you.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up. This is Putin run out. Putin.
You'll be wasting your time. I promise you.
Oh man, I'm gonna totally buy it. This looks awesome. Sorry, I need to go. What's Putin run out?
Oh,
Is it Putin run away? Oh no, there you go. Putin run out. Putin run out.
There you go. Yeah, he's looking for it.
Oh,
I tried to warn you. All heard
terrible.
me. I tried to warn him.
That's terrible. What? Why would you want Putin to have less clothes? What's so when you hit one of the things, you die?
When you hit one of the social justice activists, yes, you die.
That's.
And when I say you die, all that happens is you get like a little scoreboard thing that tells you what your score was, and it automatically resets. It doesn't ask you if you want to go again. It doesn't ask you if you want to go to the main menu or anything. It just restarts you perpetually until you... And I still can't get my head around this. You have to Alt-Tab to get out of the game. It doesn't have an exit function in its menu. That is
terrible.
I don't know how that's possible, but they managed that. So
that's embarrassing. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. That like... Again, one of the things that I try to emphasize is the flow in games. You gotta have a really good flow, and you can criticize that game for not having a menu. Let's look at the menu. Oh, there isn't any. You gotta have a nice flow. You gotta have an inviting way to play the game, and that with Red Light Runner. Red Light Runner is actually similar to that game in some aspects, in that it's an infinite runner, and that you have to avoid objects. But that's kind of where the similarities end. There's no naked Putin. Damn it. But you have to avoid cars coming towards you, and there's cars on one side of the road that are coming towards you, and there's cars on your side of the road and you're going with the traffic. And we kind of balanced it so there's going to be more coins on the side with cars coming towards you. So it's the risk-reward. We want people to be on the side where the car's coming towards you, because we want them to try and go for the coins. But if you go for the coins, you're more likely to die. And the coins that you use to unlock new vehicles and stuff. But again, it's, when you start the game, initially we had it so you'd start playing it, and it just confused the shit out of everyone, because they'll pick up the game and they'll be like, oh, I died? Oh, thanks. That sucks. Okay. And so what we did is we made it so when you start the game, your car's just driving along in the center lane, and there's cars coming towards you and cars in your lane as well, but none of them... Sorry, cars on your side of the road as well, but none of them are in your lane, so you can't get hit by anything. Or maybe there's no cars moving at all, and nothing happens until you actually tap the screen. And then once you tap the screen, then the cars start coming towards you and everything. So there's at least a little bit of a, a
little bit of brevity between the gameplay actually kicking in.
Yeah, exactly. And then we put in a whole bunch of other things. That game there, that would take... Oh, I reckon I could jam that out in a day. I reckon it wouldn't take me that long at all to do that game there. It's kind of, that's an embarrassment for game devs. If you want, I can jam one out. Well, I'll do it on the plane. I won't have the assets.
If you can, I would gladly. It's one of those things where I just want to hold it up to say, right, here's an example of one you should avoid, and here's the one, but you can't help it. The second I mentioned, look, it happened in conversation with a buddy of mine who's a gamer. Oh yeah, I've just got playing this game Power Gun, it's really fun, blah 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 blah. Oh great, what are you playing next? I'm playing Putin Run Out. Are you looking forward to it? No, it looks like it's going to suck. Why? Here's the reasons. He goes, I might go play that then.
Oh no.
No,
play the good game.
No. Go play the first one. The first one's the good one. But it is what it is. People, you can't fight what people want to play. But I don't know. Well, I mean, we've been going for a fair while. I feel like I've I feel like I've said everything that I wanted to say about the game originally. I feel like I've asked you. Is there anything else you want to kind of add about the game itself or the process, or anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say? Look, hey, keep your eyes open on this space because we got this potentially coming to this. You've mentioned a snowboard game, but you're not giving me any information. You've mentioned an RPG, but you refuse to give me information. I feel like I should be pressing you more. I feel like I should be asking you for perhaps a PIN number, maybe your passwords or stuff. I don't know, but you tell me. Is there anything else you want to kind of get off your chest or tell the people while you've got the
Well, I
open
hope
mic?
that people will, buy Power Gunner and, drop us a line if you buy Power Gunner or else we'll steal your presences, right?
There you go. Goddamn.
And if you guys want, if there's more features that you want to add, by all means drop us a line on the discussion forum. I make sure to read it as much as I possibly can, but not many people are posting this, so I don't read it every day. It's kind of boring reading the same thing over and over again.
Nah, I mean,
add Hyperslash to your wish list. As soon as Dave listens to this and gets mad at me, maybe we'll start talking again properly. He is a good guy, and there's always two sides to the story. So
I hope that he takes it. And again, I've never met the guy, never spoken to him before, but I've been in a similar position to you guys. I hope that he takes it for the spirit with which it was intended.
He is a good guy, and it's soul crushing when you release a game and it doesn't do as well as you want it to do, and you handle it in different ways. And I'm not saying I handled it correctly, so it goes both ways. And for all you know, I threatened to kill him. Right? You don't know his side of the story, so.
Hey, listen, I just threatened to steal the world's Christmas presents. I'm sure there's nothing you could have threatened him with that would have been any worse than me.
Exactly. And also, if you listen to this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well. Jeez, you need to plug your own show.
I plug it enough anyway. I'm very much of the opinion that if people want to subscribe and tune in, they will. I'm not going to force anyone, but I will force people to go and support games that I think are worthy because I feel like it's only fair.
Yeah, well, thank you. What you're doing is something that all indie developers really, really do appreciate. It's you're doing what is it? You're doing God's work or something like that. I don't know. I'm not religious, so except for wrestling.
I'm doing dev's work. That's what I'm doing.
But, thanks for taking the time yourself. I mean, this hasn't been a chore at all. I'm sorry it took so long as well. I'll definitely send you a code for Hyperslasher. I can send it to you today.
Well, do that for no other reason than, if it's all the same to you, I would love to have the excuse to have another one of these. I'd love another opportunity to chat the shit about another one of your games, but also to get some more opinion, because it sounds like, I feel like we'd have some sweet I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like we'd have some sweet conversations about gaming in general.
Yeah, of course, man. Have you added me on Steam? You should add me on Steam, man.
Do you know what? I'll be right. This is where I fall down as a reviewer for indie games.
Not on Steam.
My working knowledge of Steam is pretty bad. I understand that it is where you play games or you upload them using, but in terms of how to use it, I think one of my friends added me on Steam and messages me on there occasionally. I go, dude, Twitter.
Twitter.
I'm on there already. Go and tweet me on there. I can retweet your stuff and stuff. But get me added on. I know how to use Steam. I'll get if you. I tell you what. I'm probably the worst person to ask when it comes to sort of stuff. Add me, and I'll promise I'll friend you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link, and if I send you this link, I think it automatically adds you as a friend.
Send me the link, and I'll get one of the young people to sort me out. They'll know how to link the FaceTime Insta thing. Whatever the devil they're talking about these days.
The kids these days and their internets. I hear they're on computers these days. That's the Simpsons.
I hear they're on computers, so they hold them in their hands. Let's stop staring at the bloody thing.
Jesus, I've just been on my phone for 2 weeks because trying to... it's been driving me insane. I'm trying to, as I may have mentioned, I'm trying to renovate my house in New Zealand, and it's just organising builders, organising this and this, and then I leave on Sunday to go back to Canada, and it's like, shit, I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, yeah, do you have any other questions? Feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer anything.
Well, I think what I'll do, and this is one of the rare occasions where I'm going to talk to the non-existent audience. So, audience, non-existent though you may be, if you have any questions for the developer in this case, the very, very, very kind man that has graced us with his presence for the last nearly 2 goddamn hours. God bless you, Karl. I should probably point out, we didn't do interrupted... Right, so, this is how unprofessional I am. I will probably edit in a beginning part of this where I'll introduce us both, but if you want to take a moment to say, oh, by the way, my name's been so-and-so and I'm a developer, then by all means. But if you have any questions for Karl, in terms of where can I buy your game and why are all my Christmas presents gone, then feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to point them in the right direction.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, but yes, my name is Karl Nelson. I'm a developer for Megatoast Games, co-owner. Unfortunately, as I said, Dave Nickerson hasn't turned up, but that's all good. You know, well, Dave Nickerson is unavailable, I should say. Oh, geez, can you edit that so it's a little bit nicer?
This is the beauty of podcast. I can edit whatever I want. We can edit this so it was a 5-minute conversation just threatening to steal everyone's Christmas present. Like it.
No, it's all good. I mean,
fuck it. Wait a minute. You didn't say anything about the games, did I not? Oh, okay, fair enough. Did you buy the Christmas presents? No. So did you buy the game? Well, then kiss goodbye to your Christmas presents then. That was the only relevant part of the interview.
Exactly. No, it's been a blast though. I mean, if you ever want to chat again, by all means, drop me a line. I sent you a code for Hyper Slasher. As I say, it's in beta.
Sweet.
You're more than welcome to post preview videos. I'll when I get back to Vancouver, I'll upload a newer version of it, which has got a single player mode in it.
Honestly, you put the prerequisite. I actually there was a game I was trying to review back in a couple of months back, but the guy messaged me afterwards and said, "By the way, I'm scrapping a whole bunch of the game. Can you maybe don't cover it?" And I went, "Dude, it's your game. Like you're allowing me to review it. You tell me what you are and aren't comfortable with, and that's no skin off my nose, man. So if you're saying, look, don't do this, that, or the other because it's not this, that, or the other, I'm not really in the position to say." Well, actually, no. The point of our conversation was quite clearly that I would get to keep the content on the game, so I'm afraid it's going to have to go ahead. Sorry, old chap. Like, fuck that shit. I
well, as I say, you're allowed to preview it, just don't review it yet, because it's just, like, the menus are terrible. Oh, the menus! Oh, look at them criticizing the menu.
Oh, my God. Why did you mention the menus?
You have to use the mouse, and it's a controller-based game.
What's wrong with you? There's no point. Do you know what? I can't. I'm going to get too much heat. Too much heat.
I'll go back to Vancouver and I'll fix up the menus on the plane flight. No, I can't. I didn't bring my laptop. Shoot. I only brought my work laptop because it's so much lighter. God damn it.
Never mind. Well, okay. Then in the. Do you know, I really suck at these from a presentation standpoint. This is why I'll never do this. Like, I'll never do this for a network television show because they'll be like, "Lorne, we were supposed to wrap up an hour and a half ago." Never mind. But I wanted to say also, thank you very much for taking the time. Not only for extending me a game code, not only for taking the time to answer my inordinate. How many questions did I ask you the first time round? 7 or 8?
Something like that. I can't remember. It was all good.
Something like that. And then taking 2 hours out of your time to, and not only that, but also us having a conversation. So I really appreciate it. So that's why I'm pleading with people now. Save your own Christmas presents. Go and play Power Gunner. Go buy Power Gunner. Go support Megatoast Games. Go support this gentleman, Karl. Go follow him on Twitter. Go follow him on Facebook. If you don't, I swear to all that's chocolate coated, kiss your Christmas presents goodbye. But trust me, it's all for a good thing. Power Gunner's a really good game. I reviewed it. Go, feel free to watch that as well. It's the best review that I've ever done, if you don't count all the other reviews that you should watch as well.
I agree. Watch his videos.
You heard it here. You heard it from. But yeah, I really appreciate it. And this is the part that I'll really shoddily cut out at the end because we've wrapped up. But I don't want to just wrap up and say, "Okay, cool, bye."